Have you ever thought about when will be the good time to start therapy, or if you should start therapy based on what you're feeling or what you're going through right now? Now, look, I got you right now. I'm gonna give you guys my ebook completely free. It's gonna be a free ebook. What it is a comprehensive guide on when to start therapy. So, if you guys want to watch the entire video, you most definitely can. I'm gonna break down what the book actually talks about. If you're like, hey, actually, I don't want to watch this video, I'm gonna skip past it. You go ahead and hit the link in the description and go ahead and download the book completely free. Now, those of you guys are still rocking with me, let's go through and see what the book is actually going to be breaking down. So, this is the copy of the ebook. So, this is the book I specifically wrote for people that are looking to start therapy, but actually really don't know when to start therapy or even when to find a therapist. So I want to break down what the book actually entails and actually go through some of the key points in this book. All right. So the title of the book is Knowing When to Start Therapy, a Beginner's Guide. So as you go through the book, we have the table of contents, which is the introduction, understanding the role of therapy. The second thing I break down in the book is recognizing the signs that indicate that you might need therapy. The third thing is the real talk about therapy, busting myths. So I break down, what the myths are and the sometimes the pros and cons of starting therapy because there are some cons of starting therapy as well too. So I don't want you guys to always think like, hey, just because I'm starting therapy doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to be everything and everything's going to be good. Like that's not how it happens. It's not how it happens at all. Also, the benefits of seeking therapy early, right? There are benefits of seeking therapy early. Why? Because sometimes, and again, no guarantees, there are sometimes factors in which when you start treatment early, you can prevent things from getting worse, one. And two, you can be proactive in your treatment and your healing. Many of folks start therapy when it's quote unquote, I don't want to say it's too late because it's never too late, but the issue has gone so far and gone that it's going to take a lot more work to get you recalibrated, if that makes sense. So when we talk about benefits of seeking therapy early, there are benefits because you want to be proactive and you want to make sure you get the help that you deserve as soon as possible. Now, also in the ebook, I break down how to find the right therapist for you, and I said not the right therapist, I said the right therapist specifically for you, taking steps and understanding and setting your first therapy session. So, what that looks like is in the book, I break down a lot of, what does it look like from reaching out to the therapist, maybe send that email, what you should say when you call. Also, a lot of questions around, you know, can this therapist actually help me with what I'm going through? Because a lot of times therapists will say they can help you, but you don't actually know what they specialize in, right? So, for example, if I have somebody that comes to me and I don't necessarily specialize in whatever they're coming to me for, I usually would refer them out just because it's not ethically sound for me to see somebody if I really feel like somebody else can do a way better job, or if I just may not have the bandwidth to actually help them, right? Because technically, as therapists, we can see, we can see folks, but we may not have the training to actually get somebody where they actually need to be. So when we do talk about trying to find the right therapist, there's a lot of questions in the book that are helpful that is going to help you actually find the right therapist. So this is where, from your first session all the way up until booking your first appointment, right? So, and then I kind of break down the embracing the positive change, what that looks like, and also give some resources as well too. So, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through one or two of these sections just so you guys can see, if you guys already got the book or if you guys are looking to get the book, and hit the link in the bio to kind of give you guys some insight on what to actually expect. So it just gives a little bit about me being an author. Now, one thing in this intro, I do mention and disclose, like I've been to therapy myself, so I'm somebody who has sat on both sides of the table. So I'm not just coming from a standpoint. I'm just a therapist. I've also been a client on on multiple occasions. You know what I mean? So it's not just me coming from this instinct of, hey, like this is when you need to start therapy. This is like, I kind of get into my story on what it looked like for me to actually go to therapy and the telltale signs of what it looked like overall. Because for me, when I started therapy, it was kind of like that, that breaking point, I guess people would call it. So I gave a real good example, later in the book as far as like what my story is. Now, the introduction, again, we want to talk about what the book actually does. It aims to provide you with necessary information to determine if you might be, or what, excuse me, if therapy might be beneficial to you. All right. So that's one thing. Also, recognizing the signs is important to recognize these signs. One thing that separates this ebook from a lot of different ebooks is I gave you guys a comprehensive, self-assessment. So what the self-assessment actually is it gives you like, scale of 1 to 5 based on these questions. It can give you an indicator and a score on where you actually sit at. Now, full disclaimer, this isn't a evidence-based study. This isn't an indicator like, hey, you score a certain amount, you don't need therapy or you do need therapy. It's just to give you guys an insight and an eye opener. Again, it's not, this isn't anything to use as far as like, okay, use this as a professional guide for mental health. I use this already in the disclaimer. So this is typically, you know, it's kind of one of those things where if you go to the doctor and you're like, maybe you're working on your weight, right? You may have a scale at home, but the scale at home may not be accurate. So you have to go to the scale at the doctor. So this is kind of like the scale at home you would use, to kind of maybe give you some telltale signs. But again, even if you fill out this assessment, you score low, high, middle, whatever your score is, I would highly advise you to still seek help because the fact that you downloaded this book is a telltale sign that maybe you do need to start therapy. You know what I mean? So the fact that you even took the time to do this assessment may be a telltale sign for you to start therapy. But again, I don't want you to take this as a true indicator of where you're actually at with your mental health because within these questions, there's a lot that is missing. But I also, just for my protection, I can't say like, hey, if you get a certain score, you don't need therapy, right? It gives you a scale, but the whole disclaimer is if you do seek this, as I said, if you're unsure whether to start therapy, it's always a good idea to consult with a mental health professional who can provide you with personal guidance based on your unique situation, right? So that's the whole disclaimer with that. So with this ebook, I want you guys to really take some time when you guys do download it, you guys read it, you guys check it out. Again, it's only about 15 pages, but I'm giving this completely free. So all you have to do is put in your information and put in your email, and you will automatically have the book at hand. All right. So I appreciate you guys tapping in. Again, make sure you guys get the help that you deserve because you guys do deserve the help, especially if you're looking and seeking to start therapy. All right. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Terrence, the therapist. Y'all take care. Peace.